Hey everyone, today we are going to sit down and have a conversation, and I'm going to tell you about my two new perfume releases for my own brand, Centauri perfumes. These are formulas I've been working on for a while, developing, and here they are. So it's going to be like a casual conversational video about the new releases. Hope you'll enjoy these ones. So the first fragrance I'm going to tell you about is Santalamore, and this one is basically my interpretation of a sandalwood soap fragrance. It is marketed as an eau de parfum, an EDP, but technically it is actually an extrait. I chose to market it as an EDP just because it's not quite as high volatile, kind of high impact as you might expect from it, from the name extrait. It behaves a little bit more like an EDP. So it's an EDP, technically extrait, so think of it as a very strong EDP. But Santalamore is the name. I just thought sounded cool, but Santal obviously for sandalwood, Amore meaning love, and so it's like the love of sandalwood. It's not really a real word, it's just I thought it sounded good together and I put them together, and Santalamore, I think it sounds cool. So the initial inspiration for Santalamore is actually fragrances along the line of Colonia by Acqua di Parma, which use these kind of fresh floral soapy notes, which smells again like a fresh floral kind of soap. And I really love fragrances like this now, and I wear Colonia a lot. It's one of my favourite fragrances. The trouble is it doesn't last very long. Within probably an hour or 2 hours it's kind of gone, and it doesn't really seem to have much of a dry down, so to speak. It's like mid-top notes that disappear in a couple of hours. So, but I really love these kind of fresh soapy florals. So with Santalamore I wanted to create something that gives you that fresh, soapy, clean floral vibe, however gives me a proper long-lasting base. And I really love sandalwood, so I thought these two are like perfect. We can make sandalwood soap. I can have that cleanliness of those clean florals, you know, along the lines of something like that. It doesn't smell the same, but you get the picture of a clean floral soapy kind of vibe into sandalwood and ambergris, because I love ambergris. This uses my fine white. It's a very fine quality white ambergris beach found in Ireland, and it's beautiful, it's musky, it's ethereal, it's slightly sweet, it's just gorgeous. And I used a very generous amount of ambergris in this fragrance, which makes it very long lasting, at least on my skin. I sometimes I'm a little bit scared to talk about longevity on my own work in case it doesn't happen for you personally. But on my expectation, like my personal skin chemistry, I'll tell you about that in a minute. So yeah, it moves into a dry down. Actually, let's start from the beginning. So the top notes, we've got petitgrain. So you get this petitgrain and fig leaf notes or accord, which gives you this kind of fresh, green, leafy kind of opening that's again very fresh, clean, invigorating, bright, and just very nice. After about 10 minutes the petitgrain chills out a little bit and you start to notice the other florals blending in with it, which are neroli and linden blossom, which create this beautiful, clean, soapy floral accord, you know, more white florals but soapy, clean, fresh, bright. And it just works really well. I think it's actually my favorite part is kind of between the 20 to 30 minute mark, where all of those three notes are just like in harmony. Not one is kind of poking out more than the other. At that point, I would say 30 minutes in, you're going to smell petitgrain, you're going to get neroli, you're going to get linden blossom. It's all merging together and it smells wonderful. And it's wrapped up in ambergris, so it's ethereal and musky. And then as it dries down, you're going to notice a very subtle, soft, slightly powdery green accord, which is a matcha tea accord. It kind of dissolves a little bit into the fig note, to be honest. I think both of them are playing that kind of green kind of note. And so you've got the fig leaf and the matcha tea kind of thing giving you this, again, subtle kind of green accord through the early midsection. Then it develops into the dry down, which is sandalwood and ambergris. And I love ambergris. The one I use is naturally beach found from the shores of Ireland. And yeah, it's a grade of fine white ambergris. It's different colours of ambergris have different kind of properties. The most common ones tend to be grey ambergris, but I use white, which gives this very ethereal, musky, slightly sweet quality. It lacks the sort of salty, fishy qualities of other grades, and is more kind of magical and ethereal. It's my favourite profile of the different kind of grades of ambergris. So Santalamore uses a very, very generous amount of ambergris that you can smell long into the dry down. Ambergris is a fantastic fixative, and so yeah, the dry down uses a real Indian sandalwood essential oil, backed up or combined with, because the white bottles are mixed media, both naturals and synthetics together. I did use 2 different synthetic sandalwoods to prop up or to make the sandalwood accord bigger, because if I'd have only used real essential oil sandalwood, the cost of this fragrance would be quite a bit higher. The real Indian sandalwood oil is not a cheap material, it's quite expensive. And you have to actually use quite a lot of it to be able to perceive it in a formula. And so, yeah, it would be quite a lot more expensive if it was 100% natural sandalwood. It is backed up with an equal amount of, again, 2 different kinds of synthetic sandalwoods, which are, there are a lot of, I'm not going to give you the specific names of the sandalwood synthetics that I use, because it's like giving away my secret formulas. But they're not the more common ones that people are probably maybe a little bit more familiar with it if you're a hobbyist perfumer, so to speak. These aren't the obvious ones, but they're a nicer quality that I personally think smell quite pleasant, quite nice, and it does back up the real sandalwood essential oil, so you get the creaminess and richness and depth of the real essential oil, backed up, supported by the synthetic combination, which just lifts and allows the sandalwood to shine through more in the dry down and actually keep the cost pretty good. So as it dries down, you're going to get this beautiful sandalwood note blending with a little bit of musk and ambergris. Again, real natural ambergris in a high quantity, a high amount. If you really like ambergris, I think you'll enjoy this one. If you like sandalwood and ambergris, this might be a hit for you. So that's the core of Santalamore, I would say. Expect kind of clean, floral, green, fresh, bright, kind of soapy notes in the top. I say soapy, but there's no soapy aldehydes, there's no soapy musks, so to speak. When I say soapy, it's coming from the neroli, the linden blossom, the petitgrain, those kinds of more fresh, cleanly kind of florals going into that sandalwood ambergris dry down. In terms of performance for Santalamore, I would say 6 to 7 hours on my skin, you're into the dry down of that kind of sandalwood ambergris, where it's more of a skin scent by 6 to 7 hours. And at that point, it's a little bit more kind of soft skin scent, like you might want to reapply it at the 7 hour mark, 7 to 8 hours. But it goes on for about 12 hours on my skin. And the 12-hour mark, what you're going to get is ambergris, reported a little bit with some soft musk synthetics, but it's primarily ambergris. And yeah, you're going to get a beautiful musky ambergris dry down on my skin, like I say, 10, 11, 12 hours. So very well performing. Personally, Santalamore is my most tuned to my own personal taste out of anything that I've made so far. This is something that I could wear as a signature fragrance very, very regularly. It's really just very easy to wear, very enjoyable. The dry down is beautiful. The opening of those, that petitgrain neroli linden blossom combination is just fantastic. I genuinely am impressed with this one. I think it smells great. If it was made by another brand, I would buy it and wear it myself. And so I'm very happy with this one. It is the most to my own taste, and I would happily wear this very often. I hope people will enjoy it and appreciate it. The price I've decided to put at £128, just shy of 130. The pricing is very, very reasonable. To be honest, if I had more of a business sense, it should be more money than what it is. But it's a very, very fair price, and for the quality, I think is pretty amazing. I don't think other brands would sell a fragrance with this much ambergris and sandalwood in and market it at that price. It would be more expensive if you bought it from any other brand. It just would be. So you're getting a really good high quality perfume for a very, very fair price. I'm very happy with it. I think hopefully it will be popular and sell well. I think I've done my best with this one, and I really personally like it a lot. Moving on to my second launch, and this one is in the blue bottle, which is the follow-on from Proxima. It's taken me many years to create the second blue bottle. This is only the second one, which is a little bit wild. But Carina has gone through numerous stages. The original, or the name before this, I was just going to call it Nebula. And I then decided I'm going to be very specific, and it's going to be named after a specific nebula, which is the Carina Nebula, hence the name Carina. Carina is a nebula that is absolutely spectacular. It is gorgeous to look at. It's incredible. I'll put some pictures on the screen for you. And this perfume is inspired heavily by basically the view of that nebula, the colors specifically. And so I wanted to use notes that represent that image to me. And again, like Proxima, for anyone that doesn't remember, is the idea of going to a new world and breathing in the fresh air of this new world. And the little animation for it is this flying lid as a UFO flying through space, and the bottom manifests as anyway, it was a cool animation. My friend Gino did. Yes, so Carina is basically a continuation of that theme of space exploration, to a point where I can imagine having, essentially spacecraft or vehicles that can go deep into space, and the idea of almost like hotels in space where you could go to a particular space station vehicle that is parked in front of a nebula, and you can stay there for a week as a resort, so to speak, a space resort. This is my idea of like a space hotel kind of thing. And the views from the bedroom windows are the Carina Nebula, and you wake up in the morning and you see the nebula. This kind of fantasy in my brain of deep space exploration in the future. And so inspired by the colours. So as you see by the colours, there's lots of reds, pinks, purples, and then you've got the stars, obviously, of oranges and yellows. And so with this, I went the fruity route. Just to quickly go over things, the red bottle represents the past inspirations and uses more, generally speaking, more natural materials. The white bottle is more present day focused and uses an even amount, 50-50 kind of mixed media. The blue bottles are more future inspired and are a little bit more aroma chemical based. So this does highlight a numerous amount of synthetics. But in this there is real Bulgarian Rose Absolute as well, which actually it pushed the price of the formula up more than I wanted, to be honest. But that's the cost of the Rose Absolute. It's actually quite expensive to use Rose Absolute. And so, I could have made it more affordable or cheaper if I'd have removed the Absolute and just used a synthetic Rose Accord, but I felt like the Rose Absolute just added a little bit more depth, which I felt like it needed. So this one is £90, mainly because of the rose just pushing it up a little bit. But anyway, let's talk about how it smells. So yeah, I used raspberry, strawberry, a cherry accord, and rhubarb. And really, I mean, this does blend together in a way that is very difficult to individually pick out things. It does kind of merge together to give you this very kind of unique fruity smell, which is a little bit different, I think. I think if you smell it at different kind of stages and from different distances, you might pick out one more than the other. Like you might go, oh, that's a little bit more cherry, or oh, that's a little bit more strawberry, or oh, that's a little bit more tarty rhubarb. You're going to get maybe a little bit of that, but in general, it all mixes together into this kind of more unique, kind of fruity kind of note that's quite powerful, a little bit almost slightly dusty, powdery, very smooth, and it goes through this whole combination of fruits. It's basically how I describe it as a fruity modern amber, and I wanted to use modern synthetic ambers, what people refer to as woody ambers, but please don't think of ambroxan, because I didn't use that, but along the lines of those kinds of aroma chemicals, these, like I say, modern synthetic amber notes. There are many different profiles and varieties and names of these modern ambers, and I researched and bought many different kinds of them to see which ones were better than the others. And in this, I use a combination of 3 different amber molecules combined, which I personally quite enjoyed the skin dry down of them, and I think it does leave a really nice skin scent in the dry down. It's very pleasant. And so you get this kind of modern amber accord in the dry down, a little bit musky, and it also uses an ambergris note, except in Carina it is not ambergris tincture like, you know, in Santalamore. In Carina it is a synthetic ambergris note, so which is a little bit more kind of salty marine kind of vibe. The synthetic is a little bit more kind of, like I say, salty marine kind of note, blended in with those modern ambers. And I think the skin scent is generally really nice for synthetic. I think it's quite enjoyable, and I think the rose adds again a touch of something a little bit more rich as it starts to dry down from the fruity notes.
Introducing Carina by Centauri Perfumes. Exploring through the dreamlike beauty of a faraway nebula. Let your imagination glow among the stars. Notes of rhubarb, strawberry, and cherry in a blanket of musks, iris and modern ambers. Celebrating the beauty and mystery of the universe. Carina.
Carina, I would say, is, in general, I would say is quite unisex. However, I feel intuitively that the women might gravitate towards this one more and might enjoy it a little bit more than the men. To me, I think it's very unisex, but like I said, I think the women might gravitate towards this one a little bit more with those kind of fruity kind of sweet tones. There's a little bit of ethyl maltol in Carina as well, just to sweeten it a little bit more, again giving it that kind of red kind of sweetness, which again to represent the nebula. The idea of the modern ambers, when I think of amber, I'm thinking of the colour orange and yellows, again representing the stars in the distance of the nebula. And so you've got the reds of the fruits and the rose going into the orange in the dry down of the different stars. And that is the kind of the theme of Carina. And so yeah, that's my 2 new launches. Hopefully I've described them well for you. There are 2 ml samples available. I've set up, you can buy them individually if you like, or there is a sample set of both of them together. You can pick, it's just called New Releases Sample Duo, if you'd like to pick up a set of, you know, a 2 ml sample of each. Full bottles are available. Santalamore is £128 and Carina is £90, and the stockists will have them soon, hopefully within the next week or two. There was a delay in getting the stockists ready because actually they ordered more than I expected. It's taken me a long time to prepare the order for the stockists because they ordered so much. And so yeah, but yeah, in the next few days the stockists, I'll be shipping out big boxes to the stockists. And so if you want to wait, if you're in Europe for example, hopefully within the next 2 weeks Spain will have it, and yeah, within a week Lucky Scent should have it as well. If you want to wait and buy from Lucky Scent, you're welcome to do that. I do ship to America, Canada. Well, you can check out the shipping lists on my website, CentauriPerfumes.com. I'm excited for these ones. I think these are a long time in the making. I'm quite slow at putting out new releases, as you might have seen. But I hope you'll enjoy these ones. I do have a few more in the bag for next year when I return from India. There are ones that are in the very final stages of development, which should be, not take too long to finish when I get back from India. One of them is actually already ready to go next year, and so yeah, I will hope you will enjoy these new ones. If you get to try them, please do share your opinion and thoughts on them. If you happen to have an Instagram, please do follow me on Instagram, or Centauri Perfumes on Instagram, or FragranceView, whichever you want, or both. And feel free to take a picture or share your thoughts on Instagram. General brand awareness really does help. I am completely reliant on kind of word of mouth and people talking about them. And if no one talks about them, if no one shares about them, then it kind of dies with this video kind of thing. I am really reliant on people that enjoy it to actually express their enjoyment of it, and for outside people that aren't subscribers of my YouTube channel to actually find my brand. I just want to mention, if you happen to buy a bottle, for example, if you buy a full bottle of Carina, I will include for you a free sample of Santalamore, and if you buy a full bottle of Santalamore, I will give you a free sample of Carina. So don't feel like, if you want to buy one or the other, you don't have to buy a sample. If you do, then thank you, but if you don't, I will provide you with a sample of the other one. Just throwing that out there. And for anyone that is in America or overseas that purely only buys a sample set or samples without a bottle, I do write you a specific code for you to use for free shipping on the next order if you want to come back and buy a full bottle. So basically the initial cost of buying a samples if you're in America is kind of high, to be honest, because it's dangerous goods shipping. And there's nothing I can do about that, but you will get that shipping cost back, so to speak. If you decide that you like one of them and you do want a full bottle, you can put in the code and it will knock the shipping off and you'll get the free shipping on a full bottle purchase. That's my way of saying thank you and kind of appreciating that you spent quite a bit on just a sample. So hope you enjoyed the more kind of relaxed conversational kind of style video for this launch. And yeah, I hope you'll enjoy these two new ones. Sorry that I have been a little bit absent from making videos recently. It's just being so busy trying to prepare these for launch. When you do everything yourself and you do all the bottling and literally everything, it does take quite a lot of effort to get all this done, especially when you're launching two at the same time. And so yeah, the videos kind of disappeared for a little while, but I will be back soon. Now that the majority of this work is kind of done with some more regular reviews. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. If you do decide to get a sample or a bottle, thank you very much. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I will see you soon with some more videos. Take care, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Oh, that Harlem gives me Sunday headache. But that